Right. Speaking about the ceasefire that has been agreed upon, what role did President Trump actually play behind the scenes? What did his cabinet really do to reach this point?
The outgoing and the incoming administration have been working together with Israel to get this deal. We are at a very important juncture. From this juncture, in which we are getting back 33 hostages, we have a path towards stability. If we get into a situation that Hamas is not allowed to rearm and regroup and is removed from power in the Gaza Strip, if Hamas is stubborn to remain in power and restore the capability to attack Israel, then that's the time when we will have to make our decision to renew fighting.
All right. So currently we are in phase 1. What is the benchmark of success at the end of phase 1 to implement a ceasefire deal for phase 2 and phase 3?
Well, first of all, Hamas has to stick to the path. It means that every few days we have to get hostages back, that we will renew negotiations in a few days to try and see if we can advance to the next path. But what was clear from the Israeli standpoint is that Israel is not going to withdraw from the Gaza Strip unless we have a path implemented that serves the goals of our cabinet, which mean to bring all our hostages back and make sure that Hamas doesn't rearm and regroup and constitutes a menace against Israel in the future.
Right. What kind of solution on the ground would now be agreeable to Israel? The world has spoken about a two-state solution for many years now. Countries have come out to recognize Palestine in the last few months. At this juncture, what kind of a deal, what kind of governing authority for Gaza would be acceptable to you?
Well, it shouldn't be a terror state, that's for sure. Nobody in the world is going to cooperate. Nobody that supports the Palestinian state will cooperate with the terror state, because the meaning of a terror state is absolute permanent instability. Israel will not live with a terror state that will continue seeking Israel's destruction. And therefore, we have to find partners in the Palestinian constituency and outside, in the international community, that will partner with us to build a better future for Palestinians. Even the Palestinians in Gaza, they deserve stability. They deserve being free from this terror regime that took over their lives for the last 18 years. So we have to find a path for that. Either we find it diplomatically or we have to seek it militarily.
Right. When it comes to President Trump, what kind of support are you expecting from him in the days to come to bring peace in Gaza and also achieve Israel's objectives vis-a-vis the Hamas?
Well, we are optimistic that the American administration will give us all the legitimacy and the tools necessary to win this war over terrorists.
Right. When it comes to reviving talks on the IMEC corridor, are you hopeful that those talks would be revived soon?
Well, it depends on the countries that are being geographically part of the corridor. So we'll have to be patient. We'll have to see whether they want to engage. I think that they will be willing to engage if we find stability and we reach a situation in which we have a permanent ceasefire and that people feel secure in advancing economic projects. We can have economic projects if we have a security foundation and we have a political foundation, then we can have an economic foundation.
Right. Now, there has always been this threat of larger escalation in the Middle East, especially a direct confrontation between Israel and Iran. Are we now far away with that now as we start 2025 and the new administration takes place in the US? Do you feel that we've moved far ahead from that possibility of an all-out war in the Middle East?
First of all, we have moved somewhat ahead because thanks to the Israeli effective military action against Hezbollah and against Hamas and against Iran, the Iranians are deterred from attacking us at this point. But we have to be very cautious because Iran is still striving to acquire nuclear weapons. We are determined to prevent that. And it depends also in the approach of the international community. If the Iranians are going to be pressured to change course, then the chances of escalation are going to diminish.
Right. How happy or how satisfied is the Israeli government with the progress on the ceasefire so far?
Well, we have a difficult dilemma in the Gaza Strip. because we have to balance between the need and the aim of bringing back the hostages and the need to militarily defeat Hamas and prevent them from rearming and regrouping. So from time to time, we have to strike that balance. So that's why we were stubborn, not to agree to surrender to the Hamas demands to end the war, not to surrender to the what Hamas required is to release only very few hostages, and for Israel to withdraw from the border area between Gaza and Egypt. So after they have agreed to our demands, then we could advance to this juncture of the first phase of the ceasefire. And we are keen to abide by the agreement so we can bring back the hostages, and we give a chance to the other side to understand that they were defeated and they have to relinquish power in the Gaza Strip and give a chance to the Palestinian people to live normally.
Right. So does this mean that the two-state solution is no longer acceptable to Israel?
Well, look, we have to speak in realistic terms. The situation right now is that the terrorist organization is still there in the Gaza Strip. So are we ready to change that situation? Is there a viable Palestinian leadership that is pragmatic enough and is efficient enough to gain the confidence of their own people and of the Israelis in engaging with Israel in the peace negotiation? That right now it's not existent. So let's see whether we can create those conditions, and then the issue of state or no state can be debated in a more normal way.
Essentially, whatever political situation emerges after the ceasefire, it has to be minus the Hamas in every way.
Absolutely.
Right. My final question on India. How have India and Israel ties progressed in the last few months? Have they taken a backseat? Have they taken a setback because of the war in the Middle East right now, or the ties have only grown?
Well, bilaterally, we are full steam ahead. We had recently visits of senior officials from Israel, Minister of Transportation and Ministry of Economy. We are having a huge delegation, business delegation, coming up in February to India. Many Israelis have rediscovered India. They have seen the immense amount of support we got, not only from the government that defended our right for self-defense, but also from the Indian people. They know the Indians are open for cooperation, and they are coming in droves. So I am very optimistic that 2025 will be a great year for our bilateral relationship.
And if I could just ask one direct question, do you expect Donald Trump to be able to bring these wars in the Middle East and Ukraine to an end?
Well, it's a good question. We have to wait and see. We will support the United States, as we always did, in their quest to promote peace in the world.
All right. Thank you very much, Ambassador,
for
speaking to us. Wonderful having you in our studio.
Thank you.